I'd like to call the order of the Milan Area Schools Board of Education regular meeting for Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you to everyone attending this evening, as well as those who will be watching online. I have all board members are present except for Miss Murray is excused this evening, and also student member Miss Farrow and Miss Powell are excused as well. We do have something very special to start off with. So the family of Gino Shaw is here, and they wanted to recognize those people that helped Mr. Shaw at our middle school. So we are going to turn it over to you. Probably the best way to work it so everybody hears you is to use that microphone there. Brian will turn it on for you, and then we can go from there. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Sure, absolutely.
Sorry, everyone. It's been a hectic month, so our family is still kind of settling down at this point. And then to kind of add on to that, I didn't necessarily write anything to you ladies. Again, it has been hectic, and Friday we just got our final surgery, so we are definitely in hopes that this situation is wrapping up finally. So his ICD was placed on Friday, and we just have one more testing period. We had not so much of a hiccup, but a tad bit of a hiccup yesterday at the doctor's office. He got a little dizzy and got a little weird feeling, but everything seemed to be okay. So we've just got to go back and have one more testing for the device to make sure that it's reading properly and everything is handled, which is Wednesday, and then hopefully he'll be back in your hands. I hear Miss Etter did not get rid of us yet. Trimester 2-3 started, and now she's just got Jordan. So, but essentially, we just want to thank you ladies. I mean, there's really no way to there's really no words to say without him or without you guys. You know, we definitely wouldn't have Gino here, and you know, so many of the medical professionals definitely said that, and we, you know, obviously are greatly indebted to you guys. Just so that everybody's aware, that's my parents in the audience. And Gino, do you want to come up here? Come up here, buddy. Just come up here so that we can hand them the awards, okay? So, if you ladies would like to join us up here. And again, I'm just kind of flying off the cuff, so I hope this doesn't sound jumbled in a mess. But no, I got it wrong, actually. So, yeah. So, Miss Etter, here is yours. And Miss Hines. And they just kind of set in the base. And these are just awards that we made, me and his dad. And it just says on February 9th, 2024.
I can read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Your quick response and tireless efforts saved the life of Gino Shaw. Thank you, love Gino Shaw and family. We are so happy. We're so
Hey, thank you guys so much.
We are so Where are you? Okay, let me hug you on this side. Yeah.
I was like raking his shirt off at home.
Because we're so happy and excited for you guys.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing. So we just backed out of it.
It's so nice to see your face smiling compared to the last time I saw you.
Oh, I don't remember. It was a blur.
We
Yeah,
were
so
gonna
I just
bring
remember
you
a lot of
flowers,
people
but we
doing
couldn't
it.
figure out what hours that you were leaving, and
No, you guys have been through so much.
and I'm sorry that I mistaked you for the other one. I haven't been able to put his faces, so I do apologize.
You haven't met me yet.
I have not talked to you
Thanks.
a few times, but
They keep me busy.
yeah.
You can say that.
This is just fabulous to be here. My name's Gwen Foss, and I'm a nurse with the Congenital Heart Center at Mott Children's Hospital, where Gino's probably spent more time than he would rather have had to do, but I'm glad you were with us. And there is no doubt that the rapid response that happened, we know every minute that you go without CPR, the chances of survival drop by 10%. So he obviously had great CPR, and the fact that a defibrillator was available is key. I'm also the coordinator for Project Adam Michigan, which is a national organization that advocates for heart-safe schools. We have affiliates now in 32 states. We're working harder to get all the states, but Michigan has the most heart-safe schools of any of the states because the Department of Health and Human Services works with us for the award program. So we're going to be working together to make certain that the Milan schools get that award as well and meet the criteria. So I know of, including Gino, I know of 4 lives saved at schools in Michigan since January. It's all ages. When it happens on Sunday night football with Damar Hamlin, everybody sees it, but it happens a lot of places that nobody sees, and it doesn't make the news and that kind of thing. So, if it's a young person, it's more likely, or if it's an athlete, it's more likely that you get that kind of coverage. But we know that it can happen to staff members. Basically, my usual mantra is that anybody with a heart is at risk for the fact that it can stop. So, and the action you guys took is exactly what needed to happen, and just so grateful that you're here. And I brought a little bag of Michigan paraphernalia, some things in it you can share with your siblings too, okay? All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, don't need to say that.
We take good care of it.
We're going now.
Actually,
Would you like me to take
Carrie's
your
gonna
picture?
shoot, yeah, you need to be in the picture going.
A Kleenex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brother's got it.
I know.
So your name is Jordan?
Yeah.
Okay, and what's your name?
Stand in the middle.
Tell me again.
Sky.
Okay.
Yeah, you're safe. Yes, grab it.
Will somebody do my phone too?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You gonna smile? Turn on, smile.
We gotta see your face.
All right. Oh, I'll wait for you. There we go. 1, 2, 3.
Great, I took several. Great, thank you so much. I'm so glad you told me.
Thank you so much. Very much.
The board wants to thank you for sharing your story because you don't have to. We do value the privacy of our families and their students, but we do greatly appreciate you sharing your story and the recognition that you've given our staff. We totally agree with everything that you said. You eloquently said it.
I feel like I jumbled through it.
You did absolutely. You should run for the board because I'm sure you have plenty of time.
do want to just say that, Mr. Gerbach, you were there during the whole thing, texting and just like in a very personal as well as professional manner, and that was so appreciated. That like throughout everything with like, you know, talking to the doctors and them like, okay, what do we need for the school? And I'm like, the superintendent has literally been amazing with my family and just being that extra personal touch that like was just, I just knew that was there. And I just want to say that I really appreciate that as well. And obviously all of the prayers, because they worked.
I think it's the two ladies, Miss Utter, Miss Hines, that, I mean, they're the reason, they're the reason we're all here, and we're glad that Gino, was able to be here with us as well, to do this. So, I understand, I completely understand, yeah.
Right out the door.
You're welcome.
Thank
You
you.
guys have a good evening. Please make sure you do sign the clip
Yeah,
before you leave.
yeah,
You can
def-
take it out in the office if you want, then just set it back in here.
Okay.
It's right there on the little table.
Thank you
I think Grandma's got it. Thank you.
Yes, that's me, I'm just.
Oh,
okay.
All right, the next order of business is communications and community engagement. Public comments. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public meeting. There are 2 times for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. When addressing the board, you will be asked to state your name. The board determines the amount of time granted to individuals or groups to speak. Each person shall be allowed to speak for up to 3 minutes. Board members may question speakers but are not obligated to answer questions or make statements or commitments in response to issues raised by the public. In general, such items will be referred to the superintendent for advisement. Investigation, study, and/or recommendation are designated as future agenda items for board consideration. Are there any students who'd like to address the board? Are there any public members who'd like to address the board? All right. Next up on the agenda is I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 26, 2024.
Moved by Gutierrez.
Support by Farrow.
It's been moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 26, 2024. Is there any discussion? All right, it's been moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 26, 2024. Ms. Heika?
Heike, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Rosenleacher,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next up, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting first closed session of February 26, 2024.
Motion by Rosenleacher. Support by Pryor.
I'll support by Pryor. So it's been moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting first closed session of February 26, 2024. Any questions? Ms. Heika?
Pryor,
Yes.
Rosenleacher,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Heike, yes. Motion carries 6-0.
Next, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting second closed session of February 26, 2024.
Motion by Gutierrez. Support by Rosenleacher.
It's been moved and supported to approve the minutes of the regular meeting second closed session of February 26, 2024. Any questions? Ms. Heika?
Pryor,
Yes.
Rosenleacher,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Heike, yes. Motion carries 6-0.
All right, I'll take your envelopes with the closed minutes. All right, next up, for the bills and reimbursements of expenses, I need a motion to approve the bills and reimbursement of expenses.
Moved by Farrow.
Support by Heike.
It's been moved and supported to approve the bills and reimbursement of expenses. Discussion. Hearing none, it's been moved and supported to approve the bills and reimbursement of expenses. Ms. Heika?
Rosenleacher,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Heike, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
motion carries 6-0.
All right, thank you. Next up, moving on to our strategic plan in the area of learning, environment, and culture, we have our WISD PAC update from Ms. Bennick. Ms. Bennick.
Good evening. Thank you. Tonight's update includes valuable information for our families with students with special needs. Our last PAC meeting took place on February 20th, and much of our time was spent discussing the options for summer resources. I'm going to close the door. Sorry. Thank you. Much of our time during that meeting was spent discussing options for summer resources and care when our students are out of school. Summer can be difficult for many families, with school being out of session and parents and caregivers having to work. This is especially true for families who have a student with special needs, and even more true for families with older students and young adults. The PAC compiled a list of summer camp options, which has been distributed to LAN and shared out to our teacher consultants to share with our families in district. I wanted to take a moment to mention some of the local offerings here in case any families listening didn't get the complete list. Milan does have a summer day camp offering, and that registration information was sent home with families. It was in a backpack flyer, and that summer camp is for students ages 5 to 12. Families with students with special needs should contact that program director, Sheila Meyer, at 734-439-5118 to inquire if the camp can accommodate the students with special needs. Locally, there's another day camp option called Creative Inclusion, which specifically focuses on support for social and emotional development. The website for this program is www.creativeinclusionmilan.com. Peak, which I've mentioned here before, has a summer cycling program to teach students with disabilities how to ride a bike, and it showcases various cycling modifications and accommodations for adaptive cycling. The website for that program is www.bikeprogram.org. The summer opportunities can be found under the Programs tab, Summer Cycling Programs. For students who might need financial support to access summer programs, there are a couple of scholarship programs available. Children's Specialized Healthcare Services has camp scholarships, and I believe you don't have to utilize that insurance program to apply for scholarships. So persons that are interested in applying for this can call the Children's Specialized Healthcare Services family phone line, and that's 800-359-3722. I believe their camp scholarship has increased from $250 to $350, and funds are available. They pass them out until there's no more money in the budget. So that's a really great way for families to access some money for, and it doesn't have to be an overnight camp. It can be a day camp. It can be some programs that specialize for persons with disabilities. The Michigan Council for Exceptional Children also offers scholarships up to $250, and the application process can be found at www.michigancec.org, and you click on the Scholarships and Awards tab on the homepage. There are some fun opportunities that are available in the area that are not limited to people with disabilities. They are open to all families. One is the Kids Bowl Free program, and this is a fantastic opportunity for students to access, families really, any ages, to access free bowling. Station 300 in Saline is a participating bowling alley. Families can sign up, and children can bowl 2 games for free every day, all summer long, and it covers the cost of the games and the shoes. So you take advantage of it. You basically sign up and you go on their website to find out when they have open bowling hours, and you can show up and bowl. So you can visit www.kidsbowlfree.com to register. They also have a really affordable program if you want to bowl as a family to get a family pass. I think it's like $35 maybe. I could be wrong, but I remember that's what I paid last year. And that way, parents, any young adults, family, you guys can all bowl. And it's a really fun thing to do, especially on the days where it's kind of crummy weather or cooler out and it's not a great opportunity to be outside. It's a fun thing to do. Michigan offers the My Activity Pass through the local public library. This program allows library card holders to check out passes to various destinations in Michigan for a discounted rate. Some places are for free, some places are discounted. Interested persons can check out the Milan Public Library website for information on that. And I know the library also holds a variety of summer events. The district often shares emails and information about how to sign up for their reading programs, and they often have different shows, different craft opportunities, different ways for families that can get together. And again, those are open for everybody. It's not just students with disabilities. Families who have a student with an IEP should also make a point to learn about extended school year programs and discuss with their caseload manager or their TC whether or not extended school year is an appropriate support for them. It should be mentioned that not every student with an IEP qualifies for extended school year. There are very specific criteria for determining if extended school year placement is appropriate. For people that are looking for care at home, many people in our area have had good outcomes using care.com. A lot of times people that post profiles on there mention that they might be a student or interested in working with people with special needs. They might be a student in occupational therapy or physical therapy, and that might be a good way to connect with somebody who is interested in working with a special needs population. Other families mentioned that they've found success by posting flyers outlining their need for babysitters or respite workers at job boards at the local colleges. So the Marshall Building and the Porter Building at EMU have job boards by their offices in the area. Those particular buildings house education, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and health and human services students. So students that are in those buildings are looking to go into a career working with people who need extra support, and they are often interested in finding jobs in the summer that support families with special needs. I wanted to make sure and note that the resources and information provided tonight and in the compiled list that was sent out, they're not endorsed or verified by the PAC. This is simply information for all of you. We're putting together options that we have found, and it's up to each individual family to research and check out the supports that they're interested in. It's wise for families to do thorough investigations of any camp or program that they want to send their children to, and to do background checks on any individual that they wish to employ for personal care. Each family assumes the responsibility for where they choose to send their children and for whom they employ as caregivers. There are other programs available in Washtenaw and surrounding counties which can be found on the list that was sent out to our TCs. It's noted that Wayne and Oakland and Livingston County all seem to have a broader offering for people with special needs. And unfortunately, Washtenaw County lacks in support for people with special needs, not just in recreational opportunities, but in other areas of service as well. And if this is a concern to you or to your family, I highly recommend getting involved in advocacy to encourage more funding and programming for children and students and adults with special needs. Our families need more support, and we feel the lack of services, especially in the summertime when resources are even harder to come by. On the topic of support, I've had the chance to connect with a few families in the Milan district who have needed some advice on navigating the special education system. I want our families in the community to know that I'm available to answer questions about special education, IEPs, 504s, good practices for relationship building within the district. And if you have questions or aren't sure how to navigate evaluations, meetings, supports, you can email me at Andrea Benink, BENNINK, PACREP, PACREP @gmail.com. And I can point you to resources online and in our area that can help inform you so you can advocate better for your students. March 21st is World Down Syndrome Day. It's a worldwide day for advocacy for persons with Down syndrome. March 21st was chosen because Down syndrome is a genetic condition that occurs when 3 copies of the 21st chromosome are present in an individual. Milan area schools and the community are invited to celebrate this day by wearing unique and colorful socks because it is often said that chromosomes look like pairs of socks. Wearing fun socks can be an easy way to start a conversation about Down syndrome and how we as a society can come together to support persons living with this condition. Thank you to the Milan area schools and to the community for supporting this day of advocacy. Thanks also to Laura Rousseau for connecting with the mayor and the city council about World Down Syndrome Day. The city council meeting next week is Tuesday the 19th at 7 p.m. and they're hosting some of our community members with Down syndrome in honor of World Down Syndrome Day. Last year they did that also, and it was a really neat opportunity for our kids to go into city council meeting. I think Nathan said the Pledge of Allegiance. That's my son. I don't know. I didn't take him because I was at a PAC meeting. My older son took him. So but I did have a chance to talk to the mayor, and he said that was a really great opportunity for them. Another upcoming event in our community is highlighting a partnership between the Milan Swim Club and the Milan Special Olympics swimming team. On April 22nd, the swim club and the Special Olympics athletes are hosting a buddy meet. And this is where there will be a relay competition pairing our athletes with special needs and the swim club swimmers together. Warm-ups are starting at 6:30 and races begin at 7 o'clock. We invite the community to join us in cheering on all of our athletes competing that evening. During a break in the races, there will be a rubber ducky toss, offering spectators a chance to help fundraise for the swim club program and win some fun prizes. Please consider coming out that evening to support both of these organizations. We encourage posters and cheering for all of our athletes. I'd like to thank Nancy Gill for bringing this event to my attention and to all of the coaches for both programs. This type of event is an awesome way to bring attention to the joy of inclusion. I also want to take a moment to personally thank Evelyn and Violet. Both are swimmers for the swim team. They take extra time every week to work with the youngest swimmers in Special Olympics. And because of their efforts, our youngest athletes have made tremendous strides in their swimming abilities. And they don't have to, but they joyfully come every week and help the young swimmers work on strokes, work on holding their breath, work on technique, and they're joyful and encouraging the entire time. It's really great to see our students connecting with our kids with special needs. So I also want to thank Tammy Zajac for working so tirelessly to bringing Special Olympics swimming to Milan. It was a huge undertaking. It took a lot of time and energy to bring that program to fruition. So everybody's efforts in these programs is really appreciated. I also want to highlight that Milan Middle School is in the process of restarting the peer-to-peer program. And there's some training with the TCs through Grand Valley State University's START program that will help support them as they outline the peer-to-peer program and work to fit the schedules and needs of all of our students. For those of you that aren't familiar, a peer-to-peer program works to partner students with disabilities with their typical peers, and they provide social supports in various school settings, classroom settings, assemblies, extracurricular events, things like that. It's my hope that our TCs and our teachers can help identify a variety of students who desire to come alongside our students with disabilities. So thank you to the staff at the Milan Middle School level who are implementing this partnership with the students. Our next PAC meeting is March 19th from 6:30 to 8. This meeting will have a presentation from Lori Beaumont. She's the director of the Children's Healing Center, and they have a new location opening in Ypsilanti Township this summer. The Children's Healing Center offers a place where kids with compromised immune systems and their families can fulfill social, emotional, and physical needs. The center is open to children and young adults ages 0 to 26. Membership for those children and their families is free. Those people, you have to qualify with certain diagnoses, be immune compromised, but it's a safe space for them to be able to gather together without fear of contamination, germs, exacerbating illnesses, things like that. Their goal is to create a thoughtfully designed space for kids and their siblings to express themselves, to interact socially, and to feel a sense of belonging. They serve a very diverse population of children with medically complex conditions. So you can visit www.childrenshealing.org to learn more, or you can come to our next PAC meeting to connect with Lori and to hear about this new support organization for immune-compromised children. I do know that they have an already operating location on the west side of the state, and they're hoping to model that and open, I think in July is when they are hoping to open. They've had a couple of events leading up to this to bring awareness about the program, but they're hoping to open their physical location in July. So thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Could you give us the date again for the swim club?
Yeah, sure.
Special
That's
Olympics?
April 22nd,
Thank
and
you.
warm-ups start at 6:30.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to hand a flyer to Mr. Gearboss so that he can, Mrs. Gill, Nancy Gill has given me permission to publicize, so I would like for you to throw it out there wherever you can.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bennick, for your continued leadership with WIC PAC and your advocacy for students. We appreciate it. All right. Next up on the agenda in the area of personnel and leadership, we have teacher appointments. I need a motion to approve Cassidy Schettenholm as a Milan High School teacher and Sophia Klela, I believe, as a Simons Elementary School social worker, effective upon the district's receipt of their credentials required for permanent employee in their respective positions.
Moved by Farrow.
Support by Heike.
So moved and supported to approve Cassidy Schettenholm as Milan High School science teacher and Sophia Klela as Simons Elementary School social school worker, effective upon the district's receipt of their credentials required for permanent employment in their respective positions. So since this is a little bit different than usual, Mr. Gearbaugh will help us along.
Yes, thank you. Just quickly, both of these folks are currently in the district. Mrs. Schettenhelm is teaching high school science with a long-term subbing permit and approval from the state of Michigan. She has her bachelor's degree and she is in a certification program that will wrap up here in May, and she will earn her full teaching certificate. Sophia is currently an intern at Simons. She was here the first semester and she's here now the second semester. If you remember, we've talked about her position. We are going to add her as a social worker at Simons. She's specifically going to work with the 4th and 5th graders, and then next year she will move up with them to the middle school, and that will be that added social worker that we've talked about adding, so that the middle school has 2, one for 5th and 6th grade and one for 7th and 8th grade. We don't normally bring folks to you and ask you to approve them before they have their credentials, but in this hiring world and the difficulty in finding good employees, and we know both of these folks are good because they've been working with us and for us, we want to give them the guarantee that they do have a position here to hopefully prevent them from looking elsewhere. So again, we will not move them into the union. They'll stay at their current substitute pay. The day that they hand us their credentials, we'll move them into the union and they'll start getting all of the recognitions and benefits from the union contract. Again, and I've talked with both of them. They understand this process and they are very thankful that they know they have a position, their salary is set, those things are determined. And I think both of them are going to stay in Milan and will use this to then not look for positions elsewhere. Thank you.
I appreciate the proactive nature on this. Are there other comments or questions?
The only thing I want to say is, Mr. Gearbaugh, you said that Sophia Klela would be working with the 4th and 5th graders, and then she would move with them to the middle school. I just want to be clear that only the 5th graders are moving to the middle school. I didn't want there to be any confusion.
Well, this year's 4th and 5th graders will be next year's
Now
5th
I
and
see
6th
what you
graders.
meant.
Yep.
Now I see what
Yep.
you meant, because
But
I
yes,
was like,
the-
wait,
yes.
I don't want there to be
The
any
4th
confusion.
grade
The
is
4th
not
grade is
going
not
to the middle
moving.
school.
Yeah.
They will be 5th graders
Okay.
next year and therefore will be at the middle school. Thank
Now
you.
I know what you meant,
No,
but
good
I was like,
point
I
of
don't want there to
clarity.
be.
Good
Thank
point
you.
of clarity. Thank you.
Mr. Gearbaugh,
Yes.
could you clarify the timeline for Mrs. Klea's certification? I missed that.
My understanding is she will be wrapping up sometime in May
Okay.
with her internship. She won't have her certificate yet, so we're actually going to hire her at that point. Right now she's on an internship. Hire her at that point as a long-term sub, and then the minute she gets her certificate, she'll step into the union position. So we've kind of got stages based on when she gets certain credentials.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's not unusual for other folks who've been in this position either.
No.
Right, got it.
Good question. Others? All right, it's been moved and supported to approve Cassidy Schettenholm as Milan High School science teacher and Sophia Klela as Simons Elementary School social worker, effective upon the district's receipt of their credentials required for permanent employment in their respective positions. Ms. Heike?
Sislo,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heike, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Rosenleacher.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, next up in the area of the superintendent contract extension, I need a motion to extend Superintendent Gearboss contract by 1 year through June 30th, 2029.
Moved by Rosenleacher.
Support by Pryor.
It's been moved and supported to extend Superintendent Gearboss contract by 1 year through June 30th, 2029. Just so everybody is aware, this is something that we have always done. It's part of Mr. Gearboss' contract where the board is to take action in regards to his contract prior to April 1st if we're going to extend it another year. So this will keep it a 5-year contract. This does not set any salary figures. It does not change any of the contract language except for the extension of the date. So are there any questions or concerns?
All I'll say is that because it only involves the extension of the date and not the rest of the terms of his contract, I don't have the usual professional conflict of interest.
Thank you. All right, any others? So moved and supported to extend Superintendent Gearboss contract by 1 year through June 30th, 2029. Ms. Heika?
Pharaoh,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heike, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Rosenleacher,
Yes.
Sislo.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, next up in the area, coming back to communications and community engagement, it's time for public comment. Are there any students who'd like to address the board? Are there any public members who'd like to address the board? All right. Our student board reps are excused this evening. That leads us to Mr. McMahon for Assistant Superintendent comments. Mr. McMahon.
Thank you, Mr. Sislo. I'll be brief tonight. I have 2 sections of comments. The first is grant updates. We received our robotics grant. Finally, we applied for that a while back, but we finally got the award. It was a little over $15,000 that we put towards all 9 of our teams. And that's sectioned out at different levels, but we got that money already, so that's good. The Literacy Professional Development Grant is called 35J. I've mentioned it to you a couple times. It's been delayed. The budget was actually due end of this week, but we haven't been given the award yet. And it was the one that they rushed in really quick, and we had to put the intent to apply out there. We did that in time. And we're not the only district, like nobody really knows what's happening with it. So that's a delay right now. I previously told you about this deadline of this Friday. The mental health and school safety grant, that's 31AA. That's the money that goes towards school safety and mental health. That's been kicked back to us for amendment. And I can't speak for other districts, but I know we received an email this week saying, great news, you've received more money. So you got to amend the budget to add in more things that you want to spend it on. But this is after the initial application where they reduced our allocation and said, we told you this much, but really budget for this much. They shrunk it like by half. And then they send us this message now that says you get more, with the caveat of we're not really sure exactly how much, but put more in there. So Chris and I will be working on that probably this week to get that done. And it's like, I think $40,000 or $50,000 additional. So it's something, it's significant. So we also received this week the 61S grant, section 61S, which is the Agricultural Education FFA grant. That's actually a little bit over $48,000, and that goes towards facilities construction and improvements in the Ag Edge program. This is run through Eaton, RESA, their ISD at Eaton County. They were the fiduciary for this grant. We applied back in the fall, but we just received the funding. We weren't really sure on the amount. We were hoping for $50,000. We budgeted for that and just got over $48,000. So that's excellent. This is going to be really helpful to our Ag Ed program, including the construction you see going out across the parking lot in the barn. Mr. Fetter has been doing a ton of work with the kids prepping for the completion of that project, as well as we're going to be bringing to you at the next board meeting a presentation for a new class called Ag Mechanics, which is going to be, it's specifically targeted for FFA Ag Ed. It's a completer program at 3rd year. It doesn't impact a lot of schedules because it's only a few students that qualify for it, but they're working hard on the final details for that, and we'll be bringing that to you at the next meeting. And the last update I want to share is that we completed the NAEP assessment at Simons. I think last summer we found out they were going to have to do it. There's a lot of planning that goes forward, and so I want to thank the Simons staff, specifically Alice Ropes-Walsh. She did a ton of work to make sure that we were prepared for it. The way they do the NAEP now is different than it used to be. We used to have to administer it. They'd give us the materials, mail them to you, you have to give it. Now they show up, MDE staff shows up with the technology and it's an online assessment. So the implementation of it was easy, but getting ready for it was a lot of work. Make sure your tech is right, and I know Alice was doing a lot of forums and working with Gina to make sure we had all the right tech in place. So we were happy that came in. It went without a flaw. It worked like it was supposed to. The students showed up, and everything worked great because of the work they put into it. So thanks to them for that extra work. That's it for me.
All right, thank you, Mr. McMahon. Next up is superintendent comments, Mr. Gearbaugh.
Thank you. First, I want to thank the board for extending my contract. I appreciate that. Not sure that I'll need all 5 years, but it's good to know that they're there. Under students, we have a lot of accomplishments. Both the Milan girls and boys bowling teams finished second in their state competitions. I know that the girls competition was in the final frame before it was decided, so it was a very tight competition for first place. Congratulations to all of our bowlers. I also want to let our community know, and sometimes these bring just as much joy to me as the placement in the state. I received an email from a waitress at the restaurant where our teams went for dinner after the meet. And she emailed me with how impressed she was with the behavior of our students and our families. That alone says a lot, but the fact that a waitress took the time to find out what district it was, look on our website, get my email address, and send a lengthy paragraph long email, it just says a lot about our athletic department, our athletes, the expectations we set for our athletes, not just in the competition, but after the competition. And I know all of our teams receive recognition. Mr. Hall hears it all the time when we go to these state competitions, that our kids leave the place cleaner than they got there. They pick up after themselves. And it's just expectations that our coaches and our athletic department set. And we just appreciate the fact that our students follow those. And again, I just wanted to mention, and I get these kinds of things all the time. It's just greatly appreciated. It shows that we are truly in Milan teaching the whole child and not just teaching academics. The Washtenaw United girls hockey team is the 2024 state champion. The team is a cooperative agreement amongst fellow Washtenaw County area schools, including Milan. Milan's Riley Kennedy is a senior on the team. And so we just want to recognize that team. That's another one of our co-ops that we are part of. The Milan boys swimming and diving team placed third at the Smizzle Championships. Congratulations to all of our swimmers and divers who competed hard. And I also know Mr. Heike shared that there were a lot of personal bests set at that meet, and we appreciate all of our swimmers and divers' efforts. Our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade middle school choirs performed at State Solo and Ensemble on Thursday, March 7th at South Lyon. They earned a top score of excellent. And I will tell you something that they accomplished that I was never great at when I was in band. They got 29 out of 30 points in their sight reading score. And for those that have never had a child in sight reading in band or choir, you basically walk in and they hand you a piece of music. Your director has a certain number of minutes to attempt to teach it to you, and then you sing it. Or in band, you play it. And I will tell you, 29 out of 30 in a sight reading score is phenomenal. It shows the efforts of our students and the effort of our choir director. So we greatly appreciate that. As you saw tonight, Mrs. Etter was here with Miss Dawn Hines, our nurse. But Miss Etter was also recognized as the 100.3 WNIC Teacher of the Week a week ago. That was on February 29th. And some of the staff from the radio station did show up, and she was interviewed by them. And then that's played back. She also received a $100 gift card to Kroger. That's part of the WNIC Teacher of the Week program. And it was actually a couple of other staff at the middle school that nominated her for her efforts. So we greatly appreciate that. Robert Hall, our athletic director, is the athletic director of the year. As appointed by the Michigan Athletic Administrators Association, MIAAA. The award will be presented to Mr. Hall in Traverse City on March 17th at their conference. There are over 600 athletic directors that participate, and he was chosen as the athletic director of the year. I can tell you that he was nominated by his colleagues from around the county. Other athletic directors in the county nominated him for that position and that award. One last announcement to our community, and this has been on the website. If you've visited the website, you can't ignore it because it pops right up in your face. Milan Area Schools is in the process of reviewing our sex education and reproductive health education programs. Our goal is to make sure that we are meeting the needs of our students as well as the standards of our community. We are asking parents and community members to take a short survey that will help us collect your thoughts regarding these topics. The survey was originally developed by the Michigan Department of Education. A link to the survey is available on our website, and it's important to know that the survey closes at 4 p.m. this Friday. For those that are interested, the survey is simply a series of questions that names a topic and asks what grade you think that topic should first be taught. That doesn't mean that we're not going to teach it after that as well, but it's what grade should it first be taught. That data will then come back to our Sex Education Advisory Board, and they use that in concert with the MiFi, that is a sampling of our students, and we hear from our students where they become active in certain things, and then we get the parents telling us where they think we should teach them, and the Sex Education Advisory Board tries to mesh those and see if there are any inaccuracies and then talk about how we should possibly handle those. So this survey is important. The data is used to help mold our curriculum in those areas, and we greatly appreciate as many responses as we can get. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gerba. Board member comments. Ms. Heike.
I'll go.
Yep.
So I want to wish all of our students this weekend who will be participating in the play, all those who are acting and supporting. I got you, see?
Yep.
Everyone, good luck. I have high hopes for all of you. The plays are always phenomenal. So if the community, if you see all the signs around, take some time and come see the play. They're always a great time. I want to wish all the students who are participating in spring sports tryouts. They should have ended today. I hope everyone had fun, and I wish everyone luck and wish the coaches luck with all the decisions they have to make in the next few days. And perhaps I should have said this earlier as part of Mr. Giraba's contract extension, but the comments that were made earlier by Gino's mom about the personal touch, she said personal and professional touch that Mr. Girba displayed in reaching out to her and making sure that the parents and the family had everything that they needed is exactly why I don't hesitate to extend this contract for another year. This is it just shows. I don't think that people I think people sometimes need to take a step back, and if you watch his actions and you see how he interacts with the students and the parents, he has a true deep love for this community and all of the kids in it, and that is just a great example of how he goes above and beyond to help everyone. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And that's why I voted for it and why he deserves it. So that's all. Oh, no, I also want to say, because the boys swim team also participated in the state meet last weekend. There were a handful of boys that made state cuts. There were 2 individual qualifiers. One was Benjamin Heike and the other one was Sam Kennedy. And they are a very small team this year, but they did very well. And the 200 free relay made it back to compete in the finals on the second day, in the consolation finals on the second day. And so I'm just very proud of those students, because it is a very small team, and they have a lot of new members who have come out, some of which I don't think have ever swam before. And you have this crazy mixture of people who've been swimming since they were like 5 and kids who haven't been swam before, and they all kind of come together and they make this incredible team that was, I'll say, much more competitive than I expected them to be this year. So I'm very proud of all of them and how they brought everyone in together and became a team. So congratulations to them.
Thank you. Others?
Mr. Sisson?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Ms. Pryor.
Yeah. I was just gonna remind the community that the spring sports schedules are on the website, so there's lots of activities for the community to attend: baseball, softball, track, golf. Please go on there and take a look, and if you have a free night, come out and watch the sports teams All the kids would love your support and participation. I also want to piggyback off Miss Heike's congratulations of the swim team. They did a really good job and tried very, very hard for how small that they are. And I was proud to see them bond, and because I was able to attend and to watch them, they really do give a good example of what our Milan students are. And in addition to having, we also had a similar incident at Olive Garden our boys attended, where we had two sets of parents come up to coach when we were eating. There was 22 of us there at this Olive Garden to say how well behaved our boys were, how professional and kind, and just good kids that they seemed to be, even though we were at that restaurant for 3.5 hours. It was the longest meal I've ever eaten. And they were very good. So it was nice to have people say that and recognize, you know,
That's awesome. That's a lot
9
of
rowdy boys.
that's a
at
lot of
the
breadsticks and
dinner
salad.
My understanding is it was truly never ending.
Yes, it was never ending. They just kept bringing.
High
But-
school swimmers, I don't doubt that at all.
So I just wanted to say that I think it's awesome that 2 separate teams at both at Olive Gardens over the weekend got recognized for their behavior, and that does speak to our school and the way that we work with our kids.
That's awesome.
That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Ms. Gutierrez.
Yes, thanks. It seems Cassie and I are on the same wavelength tonight. I think we both, a couple times. I just want to reflect on how we started our meeting with Gino and his family, and I just want to express my deep gratitude and joy at seeing him here. As a parent of a middle school student, he's been on my mind, and their family's been on my mind since when it happened, and I'm so glad to see him here. I know our teachers and our support staff are all heroes in what they do on a daily basis, and to see Mrs. Etter and Nurse Hines react in a way and step up when it was critical really shows the heroes that we send our students to be with every day. And I don't have words for the gratitude and the joy that I felt watching that tonight. I also want to send many thanks to the folks at Michigan Medicine. I know many of our families and parents are actually employees at Michigan Medicine, and those healthcare heroes too. And I think it's just a real testament of what a special community we are in, both within Milan, but within this bubble that we live in and have exceptional healthcare as well. And so I'm just so grateful for Gino. I know the community has really wrapped their arms around his story, and so honored that we have these exceptional staff, which we knew we have exceptional staff, but to really see that come to fruition in the heat of the moment. And then also to Mr. Girba, as Mrs. Heike said, we know that Mr. Girba has an exceptional level of compassion and professionalism working with families, because we see that on a daily basis, but to see that testament here, and I just really applaud and appreciate that level of engagement, Mr. Girba, with our families, and clearly it has been so helpful in this overall situation. So this was a very hard situation as it evolved, but I'm just so grateful and joyous to see how it has ended. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez. Others? All right, I do have a few things. I do want to thank you again, Ms. Bennick, for your update, for collating that list and providing it to us earlier. That's a spectacular list. And the fact that we have warm weather today to talk about summer is pretty nice. So just a few board updates. Usually on Mondays, I get an email from MASB that tells me how many people have completed the self-assessment, and I didn't get that email, so my assumption is hopefully we're done. So I will. Oh. Oh, then we're not. Okay, then I'll follow up with. We'll see if we're just one. So, and then I have not heard back from them on the DEI workshop yet. So I need to follow up with them no matter what. Just a reminder that the WASB annual meeting and professional learning session is this Thursday from 7 to 8 at High Point. The focus is going to be special education, so please attend that if possible. The board, we do receive emails from folks, and we do appreciate them. We got one from our robotics group, who just had their first event this past weekend where they did very well. I think they finished up in the top 10. They won a safety award, so they're off to a great start, and we appreciate them reaching out and letting us know how to follow them that day. Also from Miss Elizabeth Miller, a reminder about the Community Read Project. She was here in the fall with the first book, and now the second book is out, a Rover story, and it's all the fourth graders are going to be reading that book, and that book is available at the Milan Library, at Simon's, and at Adventure Inc. So just a reminder and that's also brought to you by through a grant from GMACF. So. And then the last thing that I have right now is middle school quiz bowl. So I had the honor to go to middle school quiz bowl this past weekend. Miss Gutierrez was there. Miss Murray was there. Miss Murray wanted me to pass on quickly that just her note in regards to that. That she said it was an honor to volunteer as a reader and see our students compete with such grace and confidence. They were a joy to watch and represented our district admirably. So, a very common theme for this evening's meeting. As a board, it's great to have these celebrations of the great work that everybody is doing in the district, including volunteers for us to bring these opportunities to us. Milan is a great district, and we're proud of our students and proud of all our parents and volunteers that make things happen. So, any other comments? Yeah, Mr. Gabriel.
I just want to piggyback on yours. I will not be able to attend the WSB learning session. I normally do, but I actually have a new teacher orientation scheduled for tomorrow from 4 to 7. And so I won't be able to make it. I usually do attend those, but I apologize for not being available.
Yeah, so I cannot attend either. I've got a conflict.
That came up late for us, unfortunately. They just let us know about it last week. So unfortunately I also have a previous commitment. So is anybody able to attend? Yeah, professional. Okay. You're okay. Awesome. Okay. Thank you. I would appreciate that, Ms. Pryor. I appreciate that. All right. Anything else? All right. Make sure I'm on task here. Next up, I need a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to Section 8(1)B of the Michigan Open Meetings Act and upon request of the student's parent or guardian for the purpose of considering a reinstatement petition for a student whose identity is known to the board as student 2022-2023-3.
Moved by Heike.
Support by Farrell.
It's been moved and supported to enter into closed session pursuant to Section 8(1)B of the Michigan Opens Meeting Act for the purpose of considering a reinstatement petition for a student whose identity is known as 2022-2023-3. Just so everyone knows, there will be no other business except for voting on the resolution of that reinstatement and then adjournment. There'll be no other business following this closed session. Any other comments? All right, it's been moved and supported to enter into closed session pursuant to Section 8(1)B of the Michigan Open Meetings Act and upon request of the student's parent guardian for the purpose of considering a reinstatement petition for a student whose identity is known to the board as student 2022-2023-3. Ms. Heike.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Heike, yes. Pryor.
Yes.
Rosenleacher.
Yes.
Sislo.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
We're going into closed session at 8 o'clock. All right, we're back in open session at 9:48 p.m. I am going to offer the following resolution. Whereas on December 6, 2022, the board expelled a student whose identity is known to the board as 2022-2023-3, the student, for participating in a plan to eliminate another district student, thereby violating those sections of the Milan Middle School Code of Conduct prohibiting threats, harassment, and intimidation. 2. On February 20th, 2024, pursuant to the expulsion resolution and district policy, the district received a petition for the student's reinstatement. 3. Pursuant to board policy, a committee to review the reinstatement petition was created. The committee was comprised of 2 board members, 1 school administrator, 1 school staff member, and 1 parent. 4. The committee considered the reinstatement petition and information provided to it by the student's family and by the superintendent. 5. Following its review, the committee made recommendation to the board. The committee's recommendation was based on a consideration of each of the 7 factors identified in sections 1311A5E of the revised school code and each of the expectations detailed in the expulsion resolution. 6. At the request of the student's parent guardian and authorized by the Michigan Open Meetings Act, Section 81B and MCL 15.2681B, the reinstatement hearing was conducted in a closed session meeting of the board. 7. The board thoroughly reviewed and deliberated upon the committee's recommendation and independently reviewed and deliberated upon all of the information provided to the committee and to the board. Now therefore be it resolved that based upon the consideration of the 7 factors identified in section 1311A5E of the revised school code and the expectations detailed in the expulsion resolution, the student's petition for reinstatement is conditionally granted effective the first day of the 24-25 school year, subject to the following conditions. A. The student must remain in counseling through June 25 or until the counselor provides documentation that additional sessions are no longer needed, whichever is later. The middle school administration must receive updates from the student's counselor in August of 2024, December of 2024, March of 2025, and June of 2025. If any issues arise, the family should inform the middle school administration. B. The student, parent, and parent guardians must follow all aspects of the reentry plan created by Milan Middle School administration. This plan will include, but not be limited to, check-ins with a designated middle school staff member upon entry to the building, including a search of the student's belongings. These check-ins will be daily at the beginning of the year. The frequency may be adjusted as deemed appropriate by the superintendent. Next, restorative practices as prescribed by the district. Next, strict adherence to the district's appropriate use policy for technology. Violations of the appropriate use policy may result in further discipline up to and including expulsion. Next, the student must participate in weekly meetings with the school social worker or counselor throughout the 2024-25 school year. Next, the student must remain actively engaged in the educational process. 2. During the 2023-2024 school year, the student may not be on school grounds or attend any functions at the district without prior written approval from an appropriate administrator. 3. The student must continue to receive an appropriate education and may attend the VLAC program through Milan area schools for the remainder of the 2023-2024 school year. 4. Consistent with Section 11A and 13111 of the revised school code, the board finds that the school's interests and mission are served by this resolution. 5. The administration is directed and authorized to implement all terms of this resolution and is delegated all necessary authority to do so. 6. All resolutions or parts of resolutions that conflict with the provisions of this resolution are rescinded. I need a motion to conditionally reinstate student 2022-2023-3 in accordance with the attached resolution as read by myself.
Moved by Farrow.
Support by Pryor.
So moved and supported to conditionally reinstate student 2022-2023-3 in accordance with the attached resolution that I just read. Any further discussion? Hearing none, it's been moved and supported to conditionally reinstate student 2022-2023-3 in accordance with the attached resolution that I just read. Ms. Heike?
Heike, yes. Pryor.
Yes.
Rosenleacher.
Yes.
Sislo.
Yes.
Farrow.
Yes.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Meeting is adjourned at 9:53 p.m.